is because I want to make sure you guys are invited to our. So Enoch told you he wrote this book. So this book, we officially launching this book. The book is on prayer and fasting. So we officially launching this book on Sunday, and we kicking it off with a virtual book launch party. The book launch party is totally free. You can come hang out with us, and it's gonna be really good. Cause it's just not just a party just to come. Okay, it's gonna be Q&A. It's gonna be Q&A about like prayer and fasting. If you wanna go dig deeper into prayer and fasting, you can ask Enoch any question. Enoch has 20 years experience with prayer and fasting, so you can dig deeper with that. We're gonna have live DJ. We're gonna have Q&A. We're gonna do giveaway. It's gonna be really, really great. So we would love to have you there. So what you wanna do, you wanna make sure that you register. The link to register for the virtual book launch party is
.com forward
enochdennis.com.
slash book lunch.
Yeah, enochdennis.com / I'm gonna put it in here. And what I really want to share with you, like this is a candid live, really. Like, if you ask us question, you even will get better out of this live. So ask us any questions that you may have, and we can go there. But really, what I'm feeling impressed to do is sharing some of our experience with prayer and fasting. So sharing some of our experience with prayer and fasting, but that we had together. But also Enoch has more experience in prayer and fasting than me. So do you want to share maybe like your first experience with prayer and fasting, or do you want me to share some of our experience together with prayer and fasting?
So I think we can probably share our own experiences, because on Sunday I will be sharing some of the origin stories. I'll be sharing with you, how, and my biggest experience that is still following me still today, after now almost 20 years. But so for today, let's just talk about maybe our recent
Okay.
experience in prayer
So
and
yeah,
fasting.
so good, so good. So let's go. Are you guys ready? If you're ready, you want to hear, put one in the chat. Put one in the chat. Let us know. Put one in the chat. So uh I'll share our experience together. So for me, I've heard about prayer and fasting growing up, but I never really experienced it for myself. Okay. Until I was married with Enoch. And it was maybe like we've been married for 8 years, so I think maybe like was like year 4. I don't know what year, but it wasn't the first year. It was a couple of years after that Enoch introduced me to prayer and fasting. And at first, uh, and Enoch is like very disciplined. If he found something and he say, "Hey," he understand. Like before, Enoch is like he's not that person that jump on things and jump and bandwagon. If he tells you something, he really research it. He knows what he's talking about. He's sure of it. So I remember when he was telling me about prayer and fasting, and we had to do 3 days of prayer and fasting together. And I was like, what? Yeah, I love food. Okay. I love food. I love eating. I'm like, what? What are you trying to do? You trying to kill me or trying to get the insurance money? What is it that you're trying to do? I'm like, what is this that this that is trying to do? Telling me that I have to pray and fast for 3 days without food. Okay. So pray and fast for 3 days without food. And I'm like, are you trying to kill me? How many of you here, like if somebody tells you you need to pray and fast for 3 days and you're like, no, are you trying to kill me or what's going on? Okay. How many of you will react that way? Let me know in the chat, because that was my reaction. Like serious. I'm like, I think this one is trying to kill me right this one, because I don't know. I don't know. Like not 3 days, sir. 3 days with water only. No, sir. We're not gonna do this thing because I need to eat. But let me tell you, like my very first experience, I don't remember what we're fasting for. I think it was for our health or something like that. I don't remember the theme of the fast. But my very first experience, I did 3 days of prayer and fasting and did not eat anything. And I'm still alive, y'all. I'm still alive. I didn't die. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. And I enjoyed it actually. Like the first day was hard, but after that, once I mastered the first day, the next 2 days were okay. And what happened that I wasn't even expecting, I used to be very addicted with food. Like there's this thing, it's a vegan fake chicken, uh, Asian chicken nugget, something like that. I don't remember how they call it. I was so addicted to that thing, yeah. Like I had to eat that fake chicken every day. I'll do everything. I'll find a store that has it. I'll do everything to get that. At this point I even forget their name, but it was like orange chicken. Yeah, orange chicken. But it's a vegan one because I'm vegan, right? So orange chicken, yeah. So I will go the extra to find orange chicken every day to eat, every day without failure, and I will eat a lot of it, y'all. I was addicted to it. Where I didn't even think it was an addiction. But when I prayed and fast that day, I wasn't praying to stop doing this. It was like automatically my desire for orange chicken was gone, y'all. Like my desire for orange chicken was gone. And it's been a while now. And I can actually go to the store and see orange chicken and just move past by it and have no desire for it. And that wasn't even something I was praying for or expecting. But as a result of the fast, it's like that craving, that addiction that was definitely uncontrollable for me, actually was gone away. So that's one of our experience together. Is there any other experience you want to share?
Mm. Any other experience that I want to share? I think it was
Oh, big. Let me put
probably
the link before you share. So you have to. Let me put the link before you not share the
so.
experience. I'm
Yes.
gonna put the link to the virtual party. You wanna be there at the virtual book launch party this Sunday, which is we're launching the prayer and fasting book. And we getting together to have a party, a celebration to celebrate Enoch accomplishment, but also a chance for you to ask Enoch on a Zoom room. We can have an intimate time to ask Enoch any questions that you may have about prayer and fasting. He'll be answering your question, but you have to register. You have to go to the link enochdennis.com/book launch. enochdennis.com/book launch. Go ahead.
Yes. So I think for me, the most recent experience, right? For our most recent experience was probably the when we prayed and fasted for our marriage, right? Because we've done several different type of prayer and fasting. We've done prayer and fasting for our business, for our marriage, for our health, for our children, and I think that's any other ones that we've done. We probably have repeated those over the past few years, and then we've invited people. At some point, we had like 65 people who are registered to join us during those 3 days of prayer and fasting. And I think that one kind of like stood out to me, the one when we prayed and fasted for our marriage, because while we were doing it, we had an issue that we had an issue, right? We had an issue in our marriage, and we were like it. So it was an issue between the two of us, right? So we had a big communication issue,
Real
and
big, y'all.
that kind of like put a huge strain on
So
our relationship,
can I go deeper?
even on our business. So
Ah,
it wasn't pretty, right? It wasn't pretty, and that was probably one of the toughest moments that we've had in our marriage, right?
yeah.
We have those policies that we don't go to sleep angry. We have to stay up late and fix things and work things out. So there were a whole lot of staying up late, right? And then there were a lot of issues during that time. And then we did the prayer and fasting for marriage. Now we wanted to do it just for ourselves, but that was also at the time when God was calling us to actually invite people to do prayer and fasting, like as a corporate, right? And then we started doing that. We invited other people to come to join us doing the prayer and fasting. And to me, that was one of the most powerful experiences, because after that, well, doing that prayer and fasting, we were getting a whole lot of revelations. And sometimes we were getting the same revelation or things that complemented each other, right? And that is when we were like, wow, we're getting insights, we're getting insights on things that we need to do and things that need to happen even after the prayer and fasting is done. So by the time we were done, we had a clearer understanding of what was going on, what we needed, what tools we needed, who we needed, and and it's been going smooth since, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna say something.
Yeah, so I'll give a little bit more details. Okay, yeah. So we had this huge communicate. How many of you know like you can improve your communication in your relationship right now? Let me know in the chat if you think like there's some room of improvement in your relationship when it comes to communication. Put one in the chat. So we really had a huge yeah, we really had a huge issue when it comes to communication in our relationship. It got to the point where it was so bad, yeah, where it felt like we were speaking two different languages. I will say something, and what I will say, that's not what Enoch will hear. He will say something, and I will make a different, totally different stories in my head because I heard something totally different than what he thought he said. And then that will start issue where, like, let's say you could say good morning. I'm just putting an example. I can't remember a real example, but maybe he said good morning, and I think he said good night. Okay. And then I'll get upset. It's like, hey, it's the morning. Why are you telling me good night? Right. And the whole, like, everything shifted. It was horrible. It's like you have to walk, it gets to the point where Enoch feels like he couldn't even talk, that he has to walk on pins and needle because whatever he said, that's not what I heard. Okay. Anybody been there? Is that just us that's been there? Okay. If you've been there or you know somebody that's been there, just put one in the chat because that's how it was. And it was getting to the point where we're like, maybe we can't, at this
Hmm.
rate, we cannot communicate with each other. It's like there's no way, because if I say something, you hear something. If you say something, I hear something else. Now you're like basically walking on pins and needle because was like, you know what? I'm not gonna try to have no problem. Maybe I should just be quiet, right? It's like I'm not trying to like trigger this woman and start having problem. I stay quiet. Then when he say quiet, I get mad because I'm like, why are you staying quiet? Like, you just ignoring me? What's going on? Okay. So it got to the point it was so bad. And I remember that day we were walking to a restaurant and I'm like, God, this is not what I signed up for. I'm like, there's no way we can continue having our relationship going this way. I'm like, and this is bigger than us. We don't really know how to solve this. Like, we went to therapy, but uh, we still didn't know how to solve this. Really. So we're like, God, we need you. We need an intervention directly from you. Because I'm like, if you don't come, I don't know what's gonna happen because there's no way we can survive like this or thrive like this for any longer. We need you right now. I'm like, God, I don't know what is the next. If you don't come, I don't know. I know we're supposed to be together, but if you don't come, we can't be together that way. We can't be together and we can't talk to each other. That's impossible. And I remember I'm like, Enoch, we need to pray and fast. We need to pray and fast. And we prayed and fast, y'all. And I'm not kidding you, doing the 3 days of prayer and fasting, God started revealing to us why we were having those issues and gave us direct strategies that we needed to correct those issues. And it's like instantly, it's like the shell started to fall over and we started being in a better place than we have never been before. So that's one of the things, like prayer and fasting is very powerful. And when we're talking about prayer and fasting, we're not just talking about something that we don't know. It's something that we have experienced. We have seen the changes in our life. And it's not just in our life, like in our marriage life, it's also in our business life, right? Because we run businesses and we run our businesses together, right? I'm usually the person you guys see, but I can do this thing without Enoch. He's the person that basically take my vision and bring them to life and make sure the vision I have is not too crazy or it's not crazy enough. Either way, right? So yeah, so even on our business, we use prayer and fasting for guidance. Uh, there were times where we really pray and fasting every weekend because we hiring people. At this point, we do not hire people in our business without first praying and fasting and asking God if this person is supposed to be on our team.
Hmm.
Because let me tell you, we made so many mistakes in hiring people. When I say we made so many mistakes, we have made so many mistakes in hiring people. Mistakes that too many mistakes to share. A lot of mistakes, lose a lot of money and hiring the wrong people. A whole lot of mistakes. But when we realized that, hey, we needed, I don't remember how we got that revelation that we needed to start praying and fasting when we hire people. You remember?
No,
Yeah, I don't
I don't
remember
remember,
how
but
that got
we
started,
started
but we
doing that.
started we started prayer and fasting before hiring people, and so far God hasn't steered us wrong. All the people that he has told us yes we can hire and give us the okay, those people have been really great addition
Mhm.
to our team. And it hasn't been the same headache that we used to have when we were doing this on our own and not inviting God. So those are some of the things, and I'm sure we have more stories to tell. We have more things. Do you guys have any questions? Do you have guys have any questions? Let me know. Martin, say happy birthday and congratulations on the book. Thank you,
Thank
thank
you,
you, thank
Marlene.
you.
Thank you, Marlene.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, put them in the chat. Put them in the chat, and we will love to see you all this Sunday at 8 p.m. for the virtual book launch party. It's gonna be good. If you've been to any of my events that I've thrown, you know I throw good events, right? I throw great events, virtual or in person. So we'll like to have you there. And it's gonna be in a more personal setting. You can ask questions, and all of that, right? You can ask questions, any questions that you need about prayer and fasting. How do
Hmm.
you hear God to prayer and fasting? How do you whatever the question that you have. Like I said, Enoch has 20, he's been fasting and praying for 20 years. 20 years. Yeah. I know he looks young, but yeah, he's been doing this since he was like
Yeah.
1 years old.
So when I started this, and well, tomorrow I'll tell you a lot more tomorrow, right?
Sunday.
But I mean on Sunday. Why am I thinking today Saturday? But in essence, what has been the core of my experience with prayer and fasting is that since I discovered that when I was 14 years old, I kept on going back and learning more and more about it. I kept on going back to the Bible and learning more and more about it, and and finding more and more principles, finding more and more principles to the point where now, in essence, in this book, I have gone from in this book basically we go from Genesis to Revelation in this book about prayer and fasting, right? So we see we see all of the all of the different aspects of prayer and fasting, and mainly the principles of prayer and fasting that are within the Bible. This is what makes life powerful, right? This is what makes prayer and fasting, actually anything in life. That's what makes them powerful. Is the principles that are within what we are doing, right? It's the principles that we find in that thing, the patterns that we can find. And those are the principles, the patterns that of prayer and fasting that I put within the book. So why principles are so important? Because principles are things that in essence, like I said, God put in the creation, that they have no respect for people, right? Principles have no respect for who you are, what you are, your age, where you come from. There is no respect for, like, principles are blind. Principles are blind, right? So when you apply principles, you get the result that come with the principle. When you disobey the principle as well, you get the consequences that come with the principle, right? Principles are blind, and they have two things attached to them. They have the blessings, and they have the consequences, right? If you remember, God gave the people all the commands, and when they were going into the land, and then he told them, well, today I give you all these commands. Guess what? You can choose life or you can choose death. It's up to you. You choose to follow them, then you have blessing. You choose not to follow them, then you're going to, you're going the other way. So that's what principles actually mean. And this is why it's so important. In all that we do, we learn principles. We learn principles about anything and everything that we do, including prayer and fasting. A lot of times we do things because we see what people do, right? We go up and then we see what people are doing in the church. We see what our parents are doing, but we have no clue why they do it and what are the principles behind what they are doing. And we just do the same thing, right? And if someone else asks us to teach them what what we are doing, we can't even teach it. We can't even explain it, right? But when we understand principles, somebody put principles in the chat for me, please. Put principles in the chat. Principles in the chat. Principles. When you understand principles, this is where you can actually make things work. And anytime you want, you can make it work. This is why the most important thing in this life is knowledge, right? Knowledge is also principles. That is the most important thing. King Solomon said, in all you do, get knowledge. And Jesus talks about knowledge all the time. He talks about knowledge all the time, right? Knowledge is principles. The things that make things work that has no, like, you cannot influence principles. You cannot, right? You can't. Listen, there's a principle. If you take water, you drink water, guess what? It's going to do certain things in your body. It's good for your body. When you don't drink water, what happens to you? We get dehydrated, we get headaches, and you can die for not drinking water, right? It's just a principle. That's how it works. It's just a principle that God has established. Our duty is to know those principles, is to get that knowledge. And when we apply it, then we see all the blessings from it. When we disobey the principle, guess what? We see the consequences of the principles as well, right? So nothing is, God doesn't leave us, like blind or in the darkness. The darkness is when we don't have knowledge of the principles of God. That's what darkness is, right? Darkness is we don't have knowledge of the things of God. When we are in the light, we get knowledge of the things of God. We learn the principles. That's what we learn, right? The principles. So this is what we talk about in this book, principles for prayer and fasting. Right? In Hosea, I said, my people perish for lack of what? Of knowledge, right? So that's the only thing that can keep us from perishing. It's for lack of knowledge. A lot of us, we are business owners, right? We are business owners. Guess what? There's a principle of selling. If you don't sell, if you don't market, you don't sell, you don't get business. It's a principle, right? You cannot have your business and you have your office, you sit there all day, no contact with anybody, no touch, no nothing. And then you just sitting there waiting for somebody to come knock on your door and say, hey, I want your services. It's not going to work, right? Because you're not applying the principle. The principle is that you need to put it out there. You need to put your business out there. You need to market it. You need to be offering it to people so that they know they know what you have and they can go and get it from you. That is just a principle. If you obey that principle, if you obey that principle, you're going to get the blessings. If you do not obey that principle, well, you pay the consequences. No business, no money, no nothing, right? Actually, there is a proverb. I'm trying to remember 11:26, if I remember clearly, that says, "He who holds the grain, the people curse. He who sells his grain, the people bless him." Right? If you have something and then you don't apply that principle of selling to sell it, guess what? People curse you. You probably say, well, nobody come to my face and then, curse at me, but they do because they are complaining. I need this. I need this. There's nobody that can get it to me. I have an issue, right? So they are mad, and that is like they are cursing you. But guess what? When you sell it, when you apply the principle and you sell it, what you have, they reward you, they bless you, they pay you, they are happy. They say great things about you. They are happy with you. This is that's principles, right? Those are principles that we need to apply in life, in business, in our health, in everything about life. It's about learning the principles and, of course, applying them. Same goes for prayer and fasting. There are principles for prayer and fasting, right? There are principles for prayer and fasting. When we apply those principles for prayer and fasting, we get results. It's not, it's in, if you ever, here's what I would ask you to do before Sunday. Read Isaiah 58. Go ahead and read Isaiah 58 before Sunday, right? When you apply the principles, you got promised that when you apply the principles of prayer and fasting, he promised us what we will see after we have applied, after we have prayed and fasted, the way he asked us to, the way he designed it to be. When we have done that, he promised us, he said, this is what you will see. He said that this is what you will see after. Therefore, all we have to do, learn the principles and apply them. And then once we apply them, it's guaranteed that we are going to see the blessings from the principles, right? And this is what we've done with our businesses, with our health, with our marriage, right? With everything that we do, we go to pray and fast, and once we do, God, it's almost like God has no choice because it's his word, right? He has to answer you because that's what he said, come to me. Like that's how he calls us to go to him in prayer and fasting, right? And you probably say, well, I've prayed all my life. I've been praying all my life. There's a huge difference between prayer and fasting. And there's a huge difference between fasting as well in prayer and fasting. They are not the same. They are totally not the same thing. You can pray all you want, but prayer and fasting is so different, right? Prayer basically is just like it's a it's a request, right? Prayer literally means making your request, right? Making your petition. You go, you make your request, and then you're done. Prayer and fasting is actually you making your request and then stay there to listen, right? And then staying there to listen. If there is any bigger example, like a clearer example that we can have, actually, I'm actually giving you a lot of the things that are in the book, right? Um, one of the best and clearer example of prayer and fasting that we have is Esther, Queen Esther. Queen Esther wanted to get the will of the king, right? And what he did, so basically, she wanted to get the will of two kings, right? Two kings. She wanted to get the will of the king of the universe, of God, and she wanted to get the will of the king, her husband, as well. So what did she do? She proclaimed a 3 day of prayer and fasting, right? A 3 day of prayer and fasting where nobody eats nothing. So for 3 days, they prayed and fasted. And on the first day, she made her request to God. This is what we want. I'm going to the king and ask him for favor for my people. Now, while she was doing that, she her answer from God was going to be answered when she goes to the king. So when she goes to her husband, then she would know God's answer. But this is the perfect thing when it comes to like what prayer and fasting is. She goes to the court of the king, right? She got the answer to come. When she got there, she made her request to the king. Read the story clearly. I tell people all the time, take your time to read those things. She made her request known to the king, and then she stayed there to listen. Let me say it again. She stayed there to listen, to wait for the king's answer. She didn't just go and say it and then walk out. which is what we do when we pray. We say something and then we walk out, right? So we say something, we walk out. Anybody does that? Like anybody does that? Put one in the chat for me, right? Put one in the chat for me, right? We say something and then we walk out, right? We're like, blah 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 blah, amen, and then we walk out. Well, that's like making a request. When we do that, we're not giving God time to actually answer back. When does he have the time to actually answer you to say, yes, here's what you just talk about. This is my side of it. It's communication. When do we give God the time to communicate with us about our business, about our health, our life, our marriage, our children, our community, our elections? When do we give God the time to actually talk to us and give us his point of view, his answer from what we brought to him, right? So this is what prayer and fasting does. Prayer and fasting actually makes you go and stay to listen, right? You go, you stay and listen. So this is why prayer and fasting is so powerful. That's why it's so powerful, because you go, you stay, you listen, and then you will get an answer. You will hear, you will get something. God has different ways of talking to us. He will speak to us in one of those ways. He will actually speak to you, right? But we usually don't have that time to actually go and stay. We always on the wash. But prayer and fasting allow us to actually do that thing, to just stay. Some of the side benefits, I call them side benefits, right?
Before you
Because
even go into the side benefits, yeah. If you see me looking down, I'm not being rude. It's just I'm trying to manage the comments, okay, and make sure I answer you while he's talking. But what I want to say, make sure you. Is this good? Is this good? Are you learning? Is this good? Let me know if you're enjoying this so far. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat if you are enjoying this so far. Let me know in the chat. And if you're enjoying this, I'm telling you, Sunday, you're even gonna enjoy this so much. Enoch is
yes,
such a great teacher. And I'm not saying that because it's my husband, because I do tell him the truth. If it wasn't great, I would have told you right here too. He's a great teacher. And when I say Enoch knows this, he knows this from personal experience. He knows this he knows this from personal experience, and he really when Enoch studied. Let me tell y'all how Enoch studied the Bible. When Enoch studied the Bible, he just take one verse. He will go to every single verse that talks about prayer and fasting and ask God to reveal, and ask the Holy Spirit to reveal what he needs to know about it. That's how Enoch study. Like that's why you can take Enoch like a year or maybe more to study one topic. Because when he study a topic, he's not just gonna go into the surface level. He's gonna go really deep, study every single time where God's people fasted and pray and ask the Holy Spirit to reveal what He wants them to know about this. That's how Enoch study. And then he has this amazing gift where he can break things down. A lot of times, like when people read the Bible, sometimes they cannot make it clear. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you. That's what
perfect
I needed.
clarity.
Thank you. Yeah, they cannot make it clear to themselves. They cannot make it practical for their life. But God has given Enoch this amazing gift where he can make the things that other people see so difficult, where it makes it so clear and it makes it like so practical that you can actually do it in your life. So you don't want to miss the virtual book launch party this Sunday. It's this Sunday
Mhm.
at 8 p.m. Eastern time. It is totally free. Okay, totally free. But you have to register because it's gonna be on Zoom.
It's on Zoom.
It's
We
on
we have
Zoom.
to be able to send you the link to join us.
Yeah, so it's gonna be on Zoom. So you have to go to the website enochdennis.com slash book
Book
launch.
launch.
It's in the chat somewhere, and it should be in the caption too. enochdennis.com slash book launch. And I know somebody asked, how do I get my copy of the book? You can get your copy of the book if you go to enochdennis.com. enochdennis.com. You can get your copy of the book. And really, guys, we're really building a movement with this group book. We make this book very accessible to anyone because we want more people to be more powerful in their life, in their prayer life, because we know what God has done for us to prayer
Hmm.
and fasting. And we know there's a lot of other people, they don't have the knowledge. That's why they're not doing it and not hearing God and not getting the answers that they want. So we want to make this book a movement. All you have to do, go to enochdennis.com. The book is totally free, really. If you go on Amazon, this retails for $20 on Amazon. You can go and check, okay? The book is totally free when you get it to our link, enochdennis.com. All you have to pay is $9.99 for shipping and handling. We can give you the book free, but we cannot go under for giving you the book, okay? I hope you guys understand that, right? So because we have to pay for shipping, we have to pay for handling, so you only pay $9.99 for that. So you can go to enochdennis.com and get that. But also, we want to see you at the book launch party this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Go ahead, say what you were
Yeah.
going to say.
So, anything else that I was gonna say is that on Sunday, definitely we'll be talking a little bit more about how we come to all these things, and why basically you should be you need to be praying and fasting, and and that's something every believer, everyone who say they believe in God should be doing. It's not, it's totally not like it's totally not an option. Like prayer and fasting is really not an option. I was so surprised when I read an article, and of course in the while I was writing the book, like my wife said, I I do things one topic at a time. If I'm studying one thing, I do it one topic at a time. Like I studied one topic for like 2 years, and which I'm gonna write about that. But 2020 and 2021, even beginning of 2022, I was studying just one thing. But when I was doing that, I was reading some articles about prayer and fasting in the church. And I was so surprised to find articles that actually said prayer and fasting is not, it's not like something that Christian, they have to do. It's not a must for Christian. I was so surprised to read that, and coming from the people that who wrote it. But I was like, it's actually very clear in the Bible, like very, very, very clear. There's a clear story, right? There were one day the Pharisees and the disciples of John the Baptist, who did not accept Christ yet, they came to Jesus and they were like, "Why do we pray and fast? Why do we fast? But your disciples they don't fast. Why is that?" Because the disciples of Christ they were not fasting, but Christ was fasting. This is the funny thing. Christ used to pray and fast. If you remember Matthew 4, before Christ started his mission, he had a 40-day prayer and fasting. So he was doing it. His disciples they were not, and the Pharisees and the disciples of John the Baptist asked Jesus, "Why do we fast, but your disciples don't?" Jesus answered and said, basically, why do they need to fast when I'm with them? Right? If you probably have heard the saying, you cannot put new wine in old white skin, and so this is what that is referring to. This is what that is referring to. If you read the whole passage, you will get the whole context of why you cannot put new wine in old wine skin. So when Jesus was saying this, basically he was saying that I am with them. Why would they fast? And then he said, when the bridegroom is gone, then they will fast. Right? So when he would be going back to heaven, then his disciples would fast. Guess what? We never have any account of the disciples praying and fasting while Jesus was alive. At once he was taken up, we had several accounts of the disciples praying and fasting. Several accounts of them doing it when he was gone. So exactly how he said it, that's how it happened. Therefore, My question is Jesus still not here? If he's still not, then we still need to pray and fast. When he's when we are with him, we don't need to do it. Right? When we are with him physically, we don't need to do it. But as long as he's still in heaven, we still need to pray and fast, right? So those are some of the things that I help people understand and break down those teachings from the Bible and help people understand basically the importance of prayer and fasting, that every single believer needs to be praying and fasting. And when we understand, not just because, hey, Christ is not here, then I need to do it, but this is not even it. It's the reasons why we need to do it, right? The reasons why we need to do it, because it's actually to our benefit. It's actually to our benefit. People think that, oh yeah, it's a sacrifice. No, when you pray and fast, you're not doing no sacrifice to God. It's not a sacrifice. You are not sacrificing anything when you pray and fasting. You're not sacrificing anything to God. It's in your benefit. You don't have to be sad because it's in your benefit to go pray and fast. It's in your benefit. You benefit so much from it. Read Isaiah 58. You will understand how much we benefit from prayer and fasting. My wife just said something that she used to have that food addiction to a specific kind of food. She wasn't even praying and fasting for it. But then this happened, right? You may be having pain in your body all the time. Guess what? If you do a 3 day of prayer and fasting, you will see so much relief from that. You will be healed from certain diseases by spending those 3 days of prayer and fasting. Whether it's alcohol addiction, whether it's drug addiction, those things, prayer and fasting can heal, definitely heal people from those things. Because, I mean, those are some of the benefits. Why I call them side benefits. That's why I call them. I call them side benefits. Not even the main benefits of prayer and fasting, because the main benefits of prayer and fasting is to hear from God, is to listen, is to hear from God. What is God's will about this thing that I brought to Him, right? But those are side benefits that we get from prayer and fasting, where we get healing, where we get, our body get to renew itself, right? Imagine you're spending 3 days of no food going through your body and all these things. How much good it does to you when there's no food. It's just water that is going through and just giving you all that you need, the body needs to renew itself, to shed,
So now you have to live a little bit for them to come to the
I'm gonna
party,
leave a
okay?
little bit, but
Uh,
oh yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I think I'm just saying too much.
Yeah.
Okay,
So now you have to.
zip it. I'm gonna
Okay.
zip
He
it.
needs to live a little
I'm
bit.
gonna
So
zip it.
more. So y'all can come to the party on Sunday.
Listen up, y'all.
Let me. Who's coming? Who's joining us to the virtual book launch party on Sunday? He's gonna
Yes,
share.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
As you can see, he has a lot to share. Yeah. There's a lot more where this came from. So he's gonna even share more on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you're joining us for the virtual book launch party on Sunday, put one in the chat. Put one in the chat. The virtual book launch party is totally free. All you have to do, you have to register, because it's gonna be on a Zoom, on a more intimate place where you can get your question answered. So you
Yes.
wanna go to enochdennis.com/book launch. enochdennis.com/
Slash
book
book
launch.
launch.
It is in the video. You should see it there. So you can register for this. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be fun. Okay, it's not gonna be boring. We having a DJ. We having giveaway. And then Enoch will be teaching, and you get to ask him questions about prayer and
Yes.
fasting. Any questions that you have. So if you have any questions, start writing them down, and you can ask them questions. So it's gonna be so good. I can't wait to see you all. Invite your friends.
Invite
Tell 5 other
someone
people.
else. Yes.
Okay, look at your phone. Find the 5 last people you talk to,
Send them the link.
and invite them.
Send them the
Invite
link.
them. Okay, send them the link. Invite them to this. Invite people. More people need to know about this. Even the people that you think that may not be interested in stuff like this. You never know. Who is it that needs to do that? So your job is just to help us spread the message. Send the link to the virtual book launch party to 5 of your friends, okay? And let them make the decision to come. Let God help them make the decision, because I
Hmm.
know people need to hear this. So we'll see you Sunday. Make sure you register. EnochDennis.com/book launch. EnochDennis.com/book launch. And we will see you soon.
We'll see you on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And let us know that you are joining us, and we'll see you then. In the meantime, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful night, and well, Friday
Oh,
night,
somebody said got my book.
Saturday,
Oh,
and
thank you for
Sunday.
getting the
Oh,
book.
Marlene,
Yeah,
thank you,
Marlene
thank
got a
you, thank
book.
you,
Carolyn got a book. Thank you,
thank you.
Carolyn. Thank you, Marlene.
Yes, you don't have to wait for Sunday
Need
to
to
get
get
your
the book.
book. You can
Yeah,
get your book now. Don't wait for
Agatha
Sunday.
got a book. Thank you. Del Rose, thank you so much. Thank you for getting the book. Please, now that you get the book, don't just get the book to make it like look good. It's a good read. You can read this in one sitting. Now you have to go and actually read the book
And
and yeah,
apply,
and
and
apply
apply,
what's
and
in the book.
apply.
Getting the book is the first step, but actually reading the book and apply what's in the book, it's that's where you're gonna get the power that you are looking for. That's what's gonna be like very transformative for your life. So thank you guys. Thank you. We'll see you Sunday.